actually invited my wife to come to the press conference today, and I see she figured it out. Tomorrow will be our 38th wedding anniversary, and she knew I was probably going to hang her out to dry, so I got that in anyway, but we'll celebrate it the same way we always celebrate. I'll go to work at 6 o'clock and get home at 10, so you know, every year's different. You know, that's what makes this profession really, really great. And this is a different year, you know, a different year in a lot of ways. You know, it's a football team that's young. At the same time, we've had a lot of young guys that have played and have gained some experience. When you had the 6 players up here, you met half of our senior class. We've got 5 seniors on each side of the football. We've got 5 seniors on offense, 5 seniors on defense. And that's it. One of the youngest groups I've ever had in that regard. But they're a group that's worked really, really hard over the last year. A group that came away from 2018 not feeling good about the way that we finished the year, and set a course to be better in 2019. Had a good spring. Had a great summer. Basically 100% of our guys were here for the entire 8 weeks during the summer, training together, and have put themselves in a position to springboard in fall camp. And if there's one thing that's changed the most in my 27 years of coaching, it's, you know, when you used to start fall camp, you know, you spend the first week and a half going from ground zero to try to get guys up to speed, and now you hit the ground running in fall camp because of the opportunities you have, you know, through the course of the spring and the course of the summer to get guys moving forward. And our guys have certainly done that. You know, a couple of differences in camp this year. You know, it's taken a new approach. You know, 27 years, we're always looking for better ways to do things. And one of the things with this team that we're doing in camp is that we're going to do a lot more situational kind of work, specific situation work. Try to put our guys in as many game type situations to make as many game type decisions as we can. I think that's really valuable with a young team, and at some positions we've had some guys that have played a lot. At some positions we're going to have some guys that haven't played a lot, and so we're going to try to simulate as many of those kinds of situations as possible through the course of these first 3 weeks of preseason camp before we focus fully and firmly on Montana.
Well, the defense a little bit, obviously with Travis, major coaching hire when you bring in a coordinator, and obviously Abdul Hodge joining that staff. How have things come together with the defensive players that return and what Travis wants to do, and then just with the other coaching staff changes?
It's been good. You know, Travis really has brought in a scheme that's very multiple. You know, you'll see us in a variety of looks, from 3-3, 3-2, 4-man front looks. But probably the biggest part of it that's multiple is how people play in coverage. And so, you know, we'll see a lot of different looks offensively, which is good. You know, during the course of the preseason, we'll have prepared for basically any look that we could potentially see from another team, because our team kind of plays them all. At the same time, I think it creates the thing that I was looking for, is a defensive system that makes for a very difficult preparation. And I think we'll be that kind of defensive football team this year.
One of the themes of camp is going to be the offensive line and how they come along. You mentioned all the depth and the skill positions and some talent with young offensive linemen. What do you need to see from them in the next couple of weeks to see a little bit of growth to make sure that you know, they're ready to go when Montana comes to town?
I think the big thing is And what we're looking for is some consistency, and, you know, we're still shuffling guys around a little bit to try to find out what, you know, what our best combination of guys are. And we'll settle that out here probably in the next 2 or 3 days. And then it's a matter of building consistency. The offensive line as a unit, from a position standpoint, has got to be a unit that communicates very well with each other. And so getting those guys kind of in that routine will be really valuable here over the last 3 weeks of camp. You know, it's going to be, there's going to be some guys that haven't played much football that are going to play for us this year. And what we've got to get is those guys to play at a confident level, and some of that will be trying to minimize the things that we do offensively early on to make them confident what they're doing, and then be able to build off of that as they gain during the season. I'm excited about the group. I honestly think it's a group that has a ton of potential. And they're going to get better and better and better every week.
How about the new redshirt rule and allowing some of these guys to play a few games without earning that? How much did you see that maybe impact some of these players, or just you as a head coach, and what you guys were able to do with this team?
Well, I think it makes a big difference with your redshirt freshmen. You know, 2 of those redshirt freshman offensive linemen that I talked about were actually guys that played, you know, in a couple, 3 games last year. The same at the linebacker corps. You know, there's some of those redshirt freshman group actually played some football for us last year, so they understand the level that they have to play at. It's just that you know, they need more experience, and that'll come under fire.
Coach, you mentioned this earlier when you started off about the season not going how you wanted to last year. How close did you feel that group was? And even though this is a young group, do you feel they can build off that? That this is really motivated, and that's really driven them in the offseason to put last year away and start a new year and make the playoffs again?
Yeah, you know, the bottom line is, particularly at the end of the year with some of the injuries that we had, we weren't good enough defensively. And, you know, we needed to, we had a hard time. But at the same time, you look at that, and, you know, we lose a triple overtime game on the road. We find a way to win that one and find a way to win one other one. You know, we had a couple of games where we did things that are atypical for us. You know, I think back in the Northern Iowa game, we turned the ball over 3 times inside our 20-yard line. You know, you put, this is where our league and the strength of schedule is such a great thing. You know, you put those 2 games in your back pocket as wins, and we'd probably be talking about 2 years in a row being a playoff team. But that's a lot of ifs. And so what our guys understand, I think, from having been in the playoffs in 2017 and the outcome of 2018 is the things that we got to do differently this year to be back there. Because they've experienced what you have to do to make it, and they've also experienced what happened when you didn't make it. And those learning experiences are probably, you know, the best coaching experiences that guys can have.
Bob, I wanted to bounce a little bit off John's question about the freshman rule.
Yeah.
How did you guys kind of game plan for that rule last year when it was installed? Did you like how it worked? And will you tweak it all how you use it this year? You know
what, Matt? I'm gonna be the first to admit I was not real excited about it as a veteran head coach. You know, I was a little bit, didn't know how it was going to work. I didn't know if it was really a good thing for college football. But we did. I think we had 5 freshmen that we actually played in games, and then but still were able to salvage their red shirt. And what it did is that it gave us an opportunity to kind of gauge where some of those guys were at. Some of them were ready, you know, we felt we're ready to play, and for one reason or another, we just decided not to play them. Some we found out, hey, they really need to benefit from the redshirt year. The experience that those guys gained is going to help us this year. So I kind of see it as using it the same way. That, you know, if we've got somebody that we think is ready, you give them a taste and get a chance to evaluate them in the pressure of a game situation, where, before they entered that rule, you were always worried about doing that because you didn't want to burn a year of eligibility and then find out that, hey, he's really not ready, and it helps you, I think, in some situations. Our depth is gonna be much better than it has been this year, but it can help you in situations where maybe a position you're not very deep and you have an injury or two, and then you need to draw down there and bring somebody up to play a couple of weeks, and then you get somebody back. And that was something you could never do before, so I think it gives you another way to utilize that rule to the advantage of your football team.
You talked